There's a sentence you've heard so many times it feels like a law of nature: family is everything. It sounds beautiful. But that same sentence has chained millions of people inside homes where they can't even breathe. If family is supposed to be safety, then why does seeing MOM on your screen make your heart race and your throat tighten? If you've ever felt like "I go home, but I don't feel peace," comment 1. If you're the type who believes no matter what, you just endure it, comment 0. Let's see how many people are living like adults, and how many are living like hostages to the word blood. No contact isn't sudden. It's erosion. Outsiders love to judge fast. Kids these days get mad and abandon their parents. Easy sentence. No thinking required. They see the final moment and assume that's the whole story. But family breakdown almost never starts with an explosion. It starts with erosion, slow, quiet, invisible. Sometimes even you can't name it at first. A joke that cuts the same wound again and again. A comparison to someone else's child. You say, "I'm tired," and they reply, "Tired of what?" You set a boundary, and they smirk, "Oh, now you're so sensitive." Each moment feels small, like a grain of sand. But thousands of grains become a desert. That's microtrauma, tiny injuries repeated so often they don't look serious to other people, but they crack your mind piece by piece. The most dangerous phrase is, "It's not a big deal." Because it trains you to apologize for being hurt. Here's a simple example. You bring home a small win of praise from work, a project you finally finished, or just the fact that you slept well for once. You start telling the story, and you get shut down immediately. Is that supposed to impress me? You did one thing and now you're bragging. You laugh it off. You tell yourself, whatever. But your brain learns a rule: in this house, I'm not allowed to shine. And if you bring sadness home? They call it drama. They say, "Stop being weak." They say, "Life is hard, deal with it." So you hide. You speak less. You visit less. You start living like a guest in your own family. The worst part of erosion is this: it doesn't just make you sad. It reshapes you. You become someone who constantly reads the room, predicts moods, prepares answers, walks on eggshells. You lose the ability to believe you deserve love just for existing. The volcano effect: outsiders see a surprise. Insiders see years. Volcanoes don't erupt because of one rock. They erupt because pressure builds for a long time. For years you tried. Explaining, tolerating, making peace, letting it go, saying, "They're older," saying, "It's family." You endure so much that pain becomes normal. Peace starts to feel like a luxury other people get. Then one day, something inside you clicks off. Not because you stopped loving them. Because you ran out of fuel. You don't even want to argue anymore. You don't want to explain. Because you already know what happens: your words get twisted, dismissed, weaponized. To outsiders, it looks sudden. To you, it's the result of thousands of swallowed tears. Dysfunctional families don't raise children. They raise roles. In many families, you're not allowed to be yourself. You're assigned a role. The pride: your success is a trophy they show off. The failure: the one everyone blames and unloads on. The peacemaker: the one who cleans up emotional messes and keeps the peace. The invisible one: the one who survives by taking up as little space as possible. And here's the brutal truth: when you step out of the role, they call it betrayal. Because you're no longer serving the script that makes them comfortable. Let me say this clearly: some adults don't actually want their child to be happy. They want their child to be easy to control. Weak people call control love. And when you push back, they don't always scream. Some use a more poisonous tactic: they make you doubt reality. You say, "Yesterday you called me useless." They reply, "I never said that." You're making things up. You say, you promised you wouldn't use money against me. They say, I'm just reminding you. You're too sensitive. That's gaslighting, warping your sense of truth so the person with power is always right. In that system, love comes with conditions. I love you when you're obedient. You're a good child when you agree with me. You mess up once, and the house goes silent, punishment through coldness. You try to become independent, and they say, you've changed. You try to create distance, and suddenly relatives get involved. Look at them, abandoning their parents. That's why many people can't leave. They're not leaving one person. They're leaving a whole network of pressure. And here's the line people hate to hear: family is just a noun. It's not a license to crush you. Ask yourself this: after you spend time with them, do you feel warmer or smaller? Do you feel heard or erased? Do you feel respected or managed? If the answers are all no, then what exactly are you protecting? Their image, or the little child inside you who kept begging for kindness? Stop lying to yourself with the word should. No should is worth your sanity. The hardest wound to prove: emotional neglect. Physical violence leaves bruises. Emotional neglect leaves no fingerprints. No one hits you. But they make you feel like your emotions are inconvenient, your sadness is excessive, your dreams are silly. You grow up strong, but it's the kind of strength a child develops when no one comes to save them. You become independent because you had to. You stop leaning on people because leaning got you dropped. You keep returning home like returning to a well. Every time you hope, maybe this time will be different. But the well has been dry for years. If this is hitting hard because it feels like your life, comment too. And share this with one person trapped in the sentence: just endure it to keep the peace. Enduring forever doesn't create peace. It creates quiet self-destruction. Hope loop: the most toxic moment is when they're kind. The biggest trap is this: they're not awful all the time. They're awful, and then they're nice. They hurt you, then apologize. They start a war, then cry, and somehow you end up comforting them. You get addicted to the rare moments of warmth, because it makes you believe. If I try harder, I'll finally get the family I dreamed of. But the family you dreamed of lives in your head, not in your house. That's trauma bonding, being chained by inconsistency and hope. If love requires you to disappear to fit their comfort, that isn't love. That's control. There's another version of the hope loop. They'll respect me when I achieve more. When I earn more money. When I get married. When I have kids. When I prove myself. But many toxic families don't change with time. They just change tools. Back then they used insults. Now they use guilt. Back then they gave orders. Now they cry so you punish yourself. And you stay stuck because you keep seeing them through their best rare moments. You remember a few good memories and tell yourself, they can't be that bad. Sure. They're not 100% bad. But a cup of water with 5% poison is still poison. Drink it long enough and you still die. Why does leaving feel like guilt? Because you were trained to believe parents are always right. Disagreeing is disrespect. Distance is betrayal. They turn self-protection into sin. You say, I need respect, and they call you rude. You say, I can't take this anymore, and they call you weak. You ask for space, and they label you abandoning the family. So you're trapped. Stay and suffer. Or leave and be shamed. But listen, strangers who judge you didn't pay your bills. They didn't live your nights. Don't die for their opinions. Low contact/no contact, not revenge, emergency survival. Most people don't cut contact out of hatred. they do it to survive. They try low contact, fewer calls, fewer visits, less sharing. They try the gray rock method, calm, bland answers, no emotional fuel. Not because they're cold. Because showing emotion gets it used against them. And when every attempt fails, no contact becomes the last emergency brake so the mind can breathe. If you've never lived inside that kind of pressure, don't act morally superior. And no contact usually isn't disappearing without explanation. Many people tried everything first: letters, serious talks, therapy, mediation. But every time they spoke up, they got interrupted, blamed, or rewritten into the villain. Eventually they stopped talking, not to punish anyone, but to stop bleeding. And yes, it hurts. This isn't the kind of decision you make and instantly feel free. You'll have days where you want to call back, apologize even though you did nothing wrong, return just to stop feeling guilty. That's withdrawal. You're detoxing from a relationship you both loved and feared. If you're in that stage, don't hate yourself. You're learning how to live without a leash. The strangest pain, a funeral with no coffin. You grieve someone who is still alive. There's no funeral. No clear goodbye. Just emptiness. Holidays arrive and the table feels wrong. Birthdays pass in silence. When something great happens, you don't know who in the family you can even tell. When you break down, you don't dare call. This is ambiguous loss. You lose the relationship you were supposed to have, but never truly had. And the deepest grief isn't only for them. It's for the child in you who waited too long for a hug that never came. After the silence, you finally hear yourself. When the noise stops, you realize the truth: you spent too long living for other people. You relearn basic human rights. I can say no. I deserve respect. I don't need permission to protect my peace. You rebuild your identity. Not the child who must perform, not the peacemaker, not the emotional trash can. And the strongest sentence a person can say is, I stop here. I will not pass this pain to the next generation. You don't stop to punish anyone. You stop to save yourself. If you want part 2, how to set boundaries with family without getting crushed by guilt, comment 3. If this video touched something you've been swallowing for years, hit like and subscribe. Stop pretending you're strong while crying alone at night. Real strength is changing your life. Leaving doesn't make you ungrateful. Leaving just means you stopped walking back into fire out of obligation. You're allowed to heal.